Hello, Mrs. Minko.
Hello, Mr. McNish. How are you?
Do I have your consent to film today for an interview?
Yes, you do.
Great. It's a pleasure to see you. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions about your career.
Okay.
First question is going to be, can you tell me about your position and how you became interested in that?
Okay, so I am a manager at the Bank of America in Leonia, New Jersey, and I became interested in banking when my children were little. I needed a part-time job, so I started out working 9 to 1, and eventually my children grew up, and I started full-time, and then I started, progressing through the ranks of banking, becoming customer service, assistant manager, and then I became eventually a manager.
Very nice. What sort of background or skills did you need at the time?
Well, now, years ago you didn't need any college education, but now for banking they do require that you have like a business degree, because now it's all about selling products and you have to be knowledgeable of the products. Then it was just more learning the terms, because banking was a lot simpler 35 years ago. It was just about making deposits. Now banks, they're called stores, and because now you're going and you're buying products now. So it's more about handling, selling, knowledge of the product. So it's just a totally different mindset than when I started out 30 years ago.
Do you like that now? Do you agree with that? Like having maybe a kid younger than me, 24, just getting a job at a bank right out of with no experience?
They do most of that is anyway, because it's they're more concerned about the business end and selling. So it's not about the banking experience, it's about the selling the product.
Okay.
So it's like if you were a stock market broker, you would be selling your stocks. Well, it's sort of the same thing now in banking. It's selling credit cards, it's about selling checking accounts. It's more about giving the customer what they need. It's not just about checking and savings. They want you to have everything. They want you to have a credit card. They want you to have a home equity loan. They want the bank to be your primary bank, and everything should be done in one place.
Yeah. What are your responsibilities in this position?
Well, I have 8 people under me. So my responsibilities is that the bank runs smoothly, of course, and that we follow all the compliance. The government is very strict about compliance, which is, large currency, criminal activity, preventing customers from fraud, making sure our tellers are honest and they prove, customer satisfaction. So it's very wide. The banks now are more concerned about security and customers being safe and not being defrauded by scammers, which are very current.
Yeah.
Senior citizens are very easy targets to this now. We've had, accounts go to the federal government, to the FBI, because they were being scammed, and the FBI had to step in and freeze these people's accounts. So there's a lot of things that are involved in it now.
Wow. What is the most interesting part of your job?
Oh, the most interesting part is just all the people. Just seeing all the people, the little old ladies who come and they cash their little $50 check every week, and all the people who are coming and starting out, or building, the newly married couples starting out, cashing their wedding checks. That's the fun part.
Yeah. Seeing the young face, seeing the regulars too.
Oh yes, the regulars who come in at Christmas time and they make you cookies, and you're like,
oh that's
more
sweet.
Cookies.
What is most challenging about the job?
The most challenging about the job is sort of staying in compliance, making sure the bank meets all the compliance rules. There has been banks that in the past year or so that have been fined heavily for not following compliance, and you want to make sure this happens because you don't want your bank to be fined. I mean, TD Bank was just fined $3 billion for non-compliance. So that's something that you have to avoid. And making sure your tellers are honest, that they prove. You have to count them once a month and make sure they're not false proving. You have to make sure that somebody sells a product that is what they need. When somebody sells like a checking account, we have to introduce ourselves and say, hi, I'm the manager. Do you understand the product you were given today? So they understand that, yes, they opened up a checking account, and they don't go home and say, I didn't open up 4 checking accounts, which PNC actually got fined for. No, Wells Fargo got fined for that, because they would just say, oh, you need 6 savings accounts, and people would go home like, I don't. So we're making sure that happens also.
Good. Good. How are security issues handled at this bank?
Well, everybody has to give an ID. It has to be a valid ID
Mhm.
or a passport. It has to be a government-issued ID with a photo.
Okay.
And if you don't have a driver's license, it has to be a passport, green card, any kind of government-issued ID. It can't be a county ID.
Okay.
So everything that's done, the first thing that's done with any customer is we have to ask for your driver's license. Make sure the driver's license matches what's on your profile. Any customer that deposits cash now, we put in, has to show a driver's license, and only account holders can now deposit money into their accounts. It's to deter criminal activity of drug money being funneled into somebody's account, which is ways we also handle security. We all have fobs around our necks in case there is a problem. We just press the fob so we're not visible and pushing buttons and things like that.
That's for like a police response, God forbid?
Right, yes,
Okay.
the fob. We have a special routine we do in the morning about entering. Somebody has to go in the bank, search the bank. If the bank is okay, we have an all clear signal.
Mhm.
So there's all different ways we have to do security.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of steps to it.
Yes.
All right. How do you manage your 8 employees?
Please clarify.
You said you have 8 people underneath you, right?
Well, you have to take everybody. I mean, the tellers have to do what the tellers have to do.
Mhm.
The customer service people have to do what they have to do. And you have to make sure that they're polite to their customers. But if there's a disciplinary action, you have to be, discipline that. If there's a problem, you have to find out what the problem is, but you always stick up for your teller,
Mhm.
Because you're going to get disgruntled customers who don't like the product. He shorted me $10. So there's all different ways you have to sort of handle. But the hardest part is handling everybody equally.
Okay. What communication skills have helped you in dealing with many different personalities?
Well, you have to be respectful to the customer no matter what.
Right.
Even if the customer is being disrespectful to you, you must always address the customer by their name. Hi, yes, Mr. Smith, I understand you're having a problem, Mr. Smith. Let's see what we can do for you. You never talk down to somebody, even if they're wrong. You have to sit there and find out what the problem is. Mr. Smith, you've got to give your customers respect at all times, whether they're wrong, right, not being cooperative, because you don't want to lose that customer and you don't want to belittle them. So that's the hardest part.
What hiring process do you use to acquire new employees?
Well, the branches don't hire. You have to go through the corporate office. You go to like www.bankofamerica.com/careers and you apply that way. And they filter you through. And then once they hire you, then they train you, and then they send you to the branch. They send you to the branch where is needed. A lot of times the ads now will say Korean speaking.
Mhm.
So they'll hire somebody who's Korean, but in order for them to actually do a transaction in Korean, they have to pass a test, because they don't want somebody who thinks they speak Korean
Okay.
doing the transaction and they're saying the wrong words.
Right.
So you actually have to pass a test, which is very hard, and you have to do it in Korean. You can't look anything up. And then once you're certified like that, then yes, then you can do that. But the branch itself does not hire.
Okay.
It's the corporate office that actually hires.
Wow. I did not know that. That's very interesting. How do you deal with antagonistic customers?
Well, there's 2 ways. You get customers who come in who don't like the fee on their checking account. So you can say, please come into my office and we can discuss it. Now, if they're antagonistic with something that happens with the teller, you have to go between you and the teller and the customer, find out what the teller is saying, find out what they're saying, but you don't want the customer to get mad. But you still have to treat the customer with respect. Yes, Mr. Smith, I understand you think the teller shorted you $20. We're going to sit there and we're going to count the teller and find out what's the problem is. But if, let's say, a customer is mad, I got charged a fee, Mr. Smith, why don't you come into my office and we can discuss this in private? So you don't want an antagonizing customer screaming and hollering in the bank, because it looks really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just different ways you have to do it. But you always treat the customer with respect, no matter how wrong they are.
And how do you instruct your employees to handle those situations? Same kind of thing? Yeah.
And if a customer is disrespectful, you sit there and you correct them. You should have, maybe you shouldn't have handled it this way. I tell most tellers, if you have a problem, send them to me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to handle the problem yourself, because sometimes you can make it worse instead of better. So that's what I'm there for.
How do you keep your employees motivated?
Oh, well, we have incentive programs. So you have to, every product you sell has a certain amount. So like a checking account has 3 points, maybe a mortgage has 10 points. And at the end of the quarter, you have to have so many points. So, and if you have so many points, you get a bonus. So you get a quarterly bonus. And that's what motivates them. Tellers don't get these bonuses. Only customer service people, mortgage reps, they all have goals to meet. So that's how you keep everybody motivated. But the teller is supposed to give the referral so that the customer service person can meet their goals.
Okay, gotcha. All right. My second question was, do you offer incentives? I just found out you do. Okay. And what opportunities are available here at the bank?
Well, you can move up,
Yeah. Manager, general. Is there a manager and general manager?
No, there's no. Some branches, because they're small, only have managers. They don't have assistant managers. There are bigger branches like Fort Lee, Maine, has an assistant manager because you've got 20 people working there.
Right.
You just can't have one person doing that. So there's. You have to redo that question because I just lost my train of thought.
No worries.
Yeah, redo the question.
So I asked what opportunities are available there at the bank.
Well,
I guess
the bank is very
up,
flexible. If you're a young mother and you only want to work part-time,
Mhm.
it's good if you want to go stay into a career that you can see a long future with. Then the bank has many opportunities that way, or you can go in different directions. You can go into like the Merrill Lynch end, where you're dealing with people with up to $250,000. Then we have Merrill Lynch representatives for $250,000 and above. So we have that end of banking. We have mortgage end of banking. We just have customer service people. So there's all different directions you can go. It's just what you want to do. Or if you just want to be like a teller, but you can just do that too. If you're a young mother and you can't work 40 hours a week, you can just do that.
Are there, moving up wise, are there tests? Or what is it? How do you work up? Is it just from experience?
You have to apply.
You
have to apply and take the test.
Okay.
And then they see how you did on the test. And a lot of it's also in the interview too. If you see somebody's just not going to be good in the position, you're not going to hire them.
Okay. Wow. And what advice would you give to somebody interested at working in a bank?
That you can do anything you want with it. Banking is you can go so far with banking. Like I said, you can stay in the lower level. You can go into the upper level. You can go, and there's banks in every town. So if you want to be close to home, it's a great way to meet people. I still see people that if I'm at a grocery store, you're the lady from the bank, and things like that. So banking, I think, is a great career for somebody.
Very nice.
It's very rewarding.
Very rewarding. All right. Well, Mrs. Minko, that's the end of the interview. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Thank
It's been
you very
an
much for your
absolute
time.
pleasure. You've been great.